Alright, next album is going to be Let It Be Naked. Uh, this was made a few years ago. Actually, it's a companion piece to Let It Be. Just got little different takes on the tunes on here. I don't like it as much. Basically, what they did here is they edited down the Phil Spector production, which he put a little bit of orchestration on some of the tracks on Let It Be. But good release, but I like the other one better. One good thing about it, though, at the end of the album, it's got a track called Fly on the Wall, and it's a lot of studio banner, a lot of cutting up, and really cool inside the studio stuff. This is the Beatles live at the BBC, 63, 64, 65. The Beatles really did a lot of British broadcasting radio station work. They basically come in, do a few tracks, have a few skits, a few witty things here and there. It's pretty cool. Also, they might do a little bit of remote recording at concerts or whatever. A lot of tracks on here. I mean, you're looking at 34 tracks on disc 1, 35 tracks on disc 2. Really cool stuff. If you like a lot of the Candid type stuff, this is really good. This is a new compilation that's in the same vein as that one. This is On Air, Live at the BBC, Volume 2. This just came out 2 or 3 years ago. Just a continuation of Live at the BBC. One thing that I do like about these, the Beatles were a tight live unit. I mean, they really had it together. A lot of Elvis Presley covers on here, a lot of Chuck Berry, a lot of Buddy Holly, Little Richard. The list goes on and on. I mean, they knew so many songs and they did them so well. And of course, every collection's got to have these. You've got your red album, your blue album. It's just basically the hits, 62 to 66. Cool now and then shots here. This is 67 to 70. Released back in the early 70s, I think. I could be wrong. I thought it might be 76, maybe. And this right here is the Beatles Anthology, 1, 2, and 3. A lot of really killer gems on here. I mean, you got a lot of studio stuff, unreleased stuff, different takes, a lot of in-between studio banner, killer stuff. I mean, I find myself listening to them a lot. A lot of stuff I forget is on here. I mean, it's just really cool. I tend to listen to this one a lot because it covers the White Album period. Really good alternate takes. Very essential to the collection. Basically, what I do is I've got my bands right here, and then over top of them I'll keep the solo artist stuff. This is Paul McCartney's first solo album. Pretty cool album. I mean, he did everything on this album himself. Played all the instruments, produced it, engineered it. It's got some really cool stuff. I mean, it's even got a drum solo on it. Imagine that. Pretty cool. I like it a lot. These are the new remastered reissues. This right here is Ram. This one right here is particularly my favorite out of his solo work. I do like it a lot. I like every track on it. Eat at Home's on here. Backseat of My Car. Too Many People. Three Legs. Smile Away. Really cool stuff. The new reissue of Venus and Mars. Pretty decent album. It's got a lot of cool stuff on it. I do like Venus and Mars. I have an album here that recently a buddy of mine just gave this to me, and it's got a little story behind it. His dad was terminally ill with cancer, and I think towards the end of his life, maybe the last month or so, him and his dad would go to the local record shop. It's a mom and pop shop, and he'd go down there and pick him out a CD maybe every weekend or whatever. He was trying to replenish his vinyl collection, get everything on CD. And basically what happened, the last week he was live, they went into the record shop, and he was eyeballing this album right here, Paul McCartney, Trippin' the Live Fantastic. It's a double live album, and it covers the 1990 World Tour. He was in the middle of looking at the album in the record shop, and all of a sudden he fell ill, and he told his son, he said, I'm going to have to get out of here. take me to the hospital. I'm not feeling well. And when they did get to the hospital, he'd been there for a little while, and he told his son that, I got to thinking, why don't you go back and pick that McCartney album up for me? So he picked it up for him, brought it back. His dad passed away before he got a chance to listen to it, and this is that very, very actual copy, and I think it's a really cool story. When he gave it to me, I asked him if he really thought it was a good idea to give it to me. He said, I know it's in good hands. It's in the best place. Next one's Band on the Run. Not particularly my favorite. I do like a couple cuts off of it. I like Helen Wheels, Mrs. Vanderbilt, and, seems to be everybody's favorite, but that's cool. Not mine. Got one here called McCartney. This is called the Russian album. And this is basically a lot of his covers by various artists. He's doing some Elvis on here, some Fats Domino, a lot of stuff like that. Pretty cool album, listening to his take on that stuff. And I guess you could call this one a companion album to that. This was released a few years later, called Run Devil Run. Same deal. He's doing a lot of covers on here. A lot of Elvis stuff, Chuck Berry, Fats Domino, Buddy Holly, that type of stuff. Really cool. Paul does a good job on stuff like that. I like it. Okay, and this one right here is called Wingspan. I'm sure everybody's heard of that. It's just basically a rundown of Paul's career. Got a lot of the hits on it. Paul McCartney solo stuff, and a lot of Wings stuff. Pretty cool release.